Let's go.
So, how do you say your name? Vanna?
Vanna.
Vanna. Vanna, thank you for coming. Do you know my name?
I don't even know your name.
Oh,
No,
you're
I'm joking.
joking.
I forgot the moment I got here and I was joking. April.
Yes. So, thank you for coming.
Yes,
You know,
thank
when I
for having me.
like I said to you earlier when we were talking backstage, I said when I started having the idea of having a podcast, and I've had chat with you in the gym.
Yeah, that's where we met.
Yeah, and before that, I used to see you come and do boxing, all that. Yeah, but then I was like, this girl is crazy. Remember, I used to tell you you're crazy.
Always,
Yeah,
always, and our friend would always be like, "April thinks you're
yeah.
training."
But then there's something that you said to me about you being a teenage mom, all that.
When my teenage mom, yeah.
From there, I just instantly had that connection with you. I was like, wow, there's something more I can know about her. Yeah, thank you for coming in.
Oh, thank you.
If you can introduce yourself to my beautiful audience, that would be great.
Thank you so much. My name's Vanna, so
Yeah.
I'm from Adelaide, SA. I met April at a gym. I've been going through my experience, as we all do, for the past 10 years since I've been out of prison. I was in prison for about 3 years. Went on a bit of a journey, went on a spiritual and fitness journey. And yeah, at the moment I am a holistic therapist. Fitness, I do, boxing, Muay Thai, all the fitness stuff as well, all the mindfulness stuff. So incorporating all of that. And I'm also a massage therapist.
Massage therapy.
Yeah.
That's why I used to tell you, say, hey, if I come get massage, do I get happy end? And then you say, fuck off. I'm fucking back, yeah.
No, because everybody always thinks, oh yeah, massage therapist,
Yeah.
Asian girl over here, can we get a happy ending? It's like, oh my god, no. I work with your fascia and I work with
And there's a stigma about that too, like
100%.
once you're Asian, you're like, oh, I'll give you massage.
Yeah.
Happy ending.
Yeah, and like, you know what I mean? I'm open to talking because I'm just like, there is a big stigma, you know what I mean? But in my line of work and what I do, as people come see me in the last 4 years, I've had like 100 clients, and it's just like, it's, I don't attract those type of clients. Strictly basically working on your body, on, on
your
the
mind,
mental side of stuff. And I, use the sound bowl therapies and, use the different tools that I use. But everyone that comes and sees me knows what I do. So, yeah.
Are you born in Adelaide or?
Yes, I was born here.
Born in Australia?
Yeah, born in Australia.
Wow.
One of 6 girls actually.
6 girls?
Yeah, 6.
Well, you guys the first generation or?
Yeah.
So your parent came here?
Yeah, my dad came here.
Oh, okay.
And my mum was here already. Yeah.
So are you full Asian or?
Do I look for Asian, bro?
Well, it's a question, like.
Half Asian, half Vietnamese, half Greek.
That's why you're crazy.
Well, I did my ancestry recently.
Yeah.
And it came up that I had Vietnamese, Greek, Albanian, and Chinese.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. And then my sister did hers, and hers was totally different. I was like,
and I mean, the ancestor lie.
Don't know how that works.
Wow. So where were you born? Like what suburb in Adelaide?
So I was born, actually I'm a Northie, so I was born in the ghetto of the Gardens.
Parfitt Garden. Wow.
No, actually, was I born? No, I was born in Rose Park, but we grew up in Parfitt Gardens. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so my childhood was in the north.
Oh.
And then growing up and then leaving home, I was just all over Adelaide.
Yeah?
I was just, yeah.
So how was growing up for you was like?
Growing up for me was pretty... The first 10 years of my life with my parents was good until certain things were happening. My mum had a mental health issue. They call it mental health, but I call it a spiritual awakening.
You've been following the wrong people.
Following the wrong people.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was things that was happening at home. Just a lot of dysfunctional family situations. And then I ended up leaving home at like 13.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then living with who?
So I was living with one of my boyfriends at the time.
At the age of 13.
Yeah. So he was like in an Asian gang, and like back then, I guess it was just like, being young and wanting to find someone to protect you. Because I was always trying to, look after my sisters and, things that was happening at home. And then having this guy here that was older than me, I felt more protected.
What was the age gap?
He was 18.
He was 18 and you were 13.
Yeah. And then I ended up getting on drugs, selling drugs, just in that whole street life.
So where was your father? All this?
So my mother was here, but he was, I think he was, I don't know, he wasn't at home. He was drinking and with his other the wife. Yeah, so it was then my mum ended up having to be on her own, looking after all of us. And she was just going through her mental health issues, which was pretty.
So are you guys all from the same mum and dad?
Yeah, 5 of us is.
5.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he just had all of you guys and then walk away.
Yeah. You know, at the end of the day, when I look at it, I forgive my father for all of this.
Well, you have to forgive him in order for you to move forward.
Yeah. And so even to this day, like, you know, I still love my father, even though he wasn't there certain aspects of my life. But it took me a lot of, you know, therapy and a lot of like really connecting to myself to understand why, you know, he was like that, or why my mother was like that, and why, you know, certain things was happening in our lives. Yeah.
So how was did you had any grandparent growing up?
So I had only my grandmother.
From your father's side?
From my mother's side. Yeah, so that's another story, which is great. So her stories would be another podcast, but it's like something had happened back in her days, and my grandfather ended up in prison.
Oh.
So my grandfather had murdered someone here in Adelaide.
Oh.
And so he got extradited back to Australia. Extradited back to Greece. And so the Greek side of the family didn't acknowledge us. So we grew up in Adelaide being Greek, but not knowing anyone that was.
And again, back then, you know, you're Asian.
Yeah, so we didn't fit in anywhere,
you know,
because we look half Asian, half Greek, and then, you know, so it was just my yaya there, which I love her. Like, she's still alive till this day, and she's lived longer than my mum. But yeah, just, you know, she was the only one that we had like as an immediate family member.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was pretty hard for my mum. Like, being my mum, having 5 girls, like whatever my mother went through in her own life is another story.
Wow.
So, you know, her going through her life journey, I could see like certain things that was happening to me. My mum went through, like, for example, jail, domestic violence, men, you know.
Well, your mum?
Yeah. Like,
your mum went to prison too?
Yeah, she went to prison too. Yeah. Yeah, see how it's a journey. Yeah, she was in there for like, you know, something minor, but like still, you know, it was.
But can you tell what we were talking about before?
Yeah.
Like backstage.
Yeah.
Like, so you need to protect the next.
Yeah, protect the next generation.
Yeah, so that doesn't happen to.
So with this whole generational curse, or,
you know,
my mum went through this whole journey of hers, and she didn't have. This is how I see it, right? She didn't have the right tools around her. She didn't have the right support and therapy. She didn't have anyone to help her go through what she was going through with her father going to prison, and, you know, understanding herself, and then having 5 children, 5 girls, and being a mother at 19. She was the same age as me when she had her first one. And imagine having 5 girls, and I've only got 2 children.
How old are your kid?
So my children.
What's the youngest?
So my daughter's 17 and my son's 19.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had them young. I just.
But you know, back then it was hard, but now look at you. You're enjoying them now.
Yeah, 100%. Like, enjoying, you know, even though there's ups and downs, you know, we're still enjoying the moment, and we're still growing and trying to grow together, you know, despite everything.
Yep.
But as we were saying, like, earlier, being young at the age, how crazy it was, because, like, when I see, for example, my sisters having children and they're doing the baby shower, and they have all these, like, people coming over and gifts for the child, and then I'm sitting there, I'm like, fuck, I remember I used to steal things. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I remember with my son, like, you know, I was literally homeless and I had no money whatsoever, and then I used to have to go to the reject shop and, like, steal baby bottles and teats and all that stuff. Like, it was just so hard at that time, and I'm just like, wow, how life is just so different.
I know, that just breaks your heart when people bring in things.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I feel like, you know, I guess it was a journey that I had to take and go through, like, with all this hardship in my life, and it, you know, now I look at it, it's just like, it's not for people to feel sorry for me, but it's just to speak the truth of a woman or someone that's been through all this shit in their lives, and about how to come out of it, and to acknowledge and be authentic about it.
Yeah.
You know, I used to have a lot of shame in me, and, like, you know, things that I've done, because I've
done. Like, look at you.
Yeah.
Do you know, I didn't know that you have a kid still, and even with your age, when you told me your age, I was like, no, shut the fuck. Do you know what I mean?
Like everywhere.
You're not. And then when you told me your age, you told me you've got a kid this age. I was like, no, you're not.
Yeah, I get that a lot. Yeah, it must be all the meditation.
That spiritual part, I don't agree with. Look,
This guy doesn't.
I think the spiritual part is a mental health thing.
I'm the opposite. This is what I love about it. We have two different.
No, but
you know.
do you know what I'm saying? Trust me, I've done all that spiritual thing because I went to drama school. I did 3 years. We used to do meditating, all this yoga, Pilates, just sitting there talking to Buddhists or whatever, all this bullshit.
Yeah, I have the view of I have on that is very different only because of my experience to spirit and to God and my own personal experience. So this is what I say to everyone when it comes to spirituality. I'm not all about like, oh my God, religious. And, I'm just all about my own personal connection to my higher self in my mind and God. And with the signs that I get, because there's certain things that happen in my life where I could have ended up dead and something has shown me. You can say it's a mental health, we could say it's something, but if you start talking in quantum physics and start talking on the scientific side, bro, that's another level, okay?
Do you know, for me, with that whole meditating thing, what it does for you, it just calms you down.
Yeah.
Like it just give you, imagine waking up early in the morning and meditate for 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Like you just see a clear path of what you're doing for the day.
Yeah, 100%.
That I agree, but just to make it more spiritual, this one, that one, this one.
Yeah, like I don't think that you have to go into a temple or a church or go up in the hills and pray for the whole 30, 60 days. But it's just that own time. Like meditation and prayer is different. Prayer is talking to your higher self and talking to God. Meditation is being in the moment and really connecting.
But even with prayer, you're talking, but you gotta connect and then be in the moment.
Yeah.
And then just be present and then talk to God. But you can't be talking to God. You're being distracted with things that are happening out there. It wouldn't work.
Yeah, 100%.
That means you're not being truthful to what you're saying. Wow.
But so that was my life in a nutshell. Growing up and just going through a lot of things in my life, like drugs.
So what age did you get on drugs? Like started doing drugs?
13. Yeah, I know. When I look back, I'm just like, holy shit.
But everything in life happened for a reason.
Yeah, I definitely.
There should be no shame. You rather.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's good that it happens to you then than happening to you now.
Yeah, 100%. And it's going back to that life, that timeline. It was a journey in my life to go through, which you just at the end of the day you're just gonna need to accept and be like, okay, look at where you are now.
So are you the first in your
second oldest?
Oldest. Where's your older sister?
So she's interstate at the moment. So
how is she like? She good too?
Yeah, she's good. She left like how old was I? She left when she was like how old? 20, I think. She moved interstate. So it kind of felt like, she just went on to her journey in her life. And so she moved to Melbourne. She's got a partner.
So when she moved, by then your mum was sick.
Yeah.
So she was like, no, I can't take it anymore.
Yeah. Like she, I guess, has her own, how can I say, story as to why she left. I don't personally judge whatever situation or whatever has happened as to why she left. But being here and being, obviously going through everything and then me going to prison and then, just a lot of things. Yeah, it was just a lot of work that I needed to do. Yeah. And
how old were you when your mum went to prison?
So how old was I? I think I was like 24.
When your mum went to prison?
Yeah.
Oh, that means you were older.
Yeah, I was older. Yeah. So my mum was just like, everyone down in the north knew who my mum was. She was like in and out of their mental health ward.
Wow.
People knew who she was. And I like to remember my mum as who she was, what I remember. The beautiful woman that, used to look after the 5 girls and have all the,
But that's the thing, like your mum is, that's what I say to people. Mum is always mum.
100%.
Your mum can be crazy, coming out of mental health, all this. The love that you have for her will never change.
Yeah, definitely.
You can you can replace a father, but you can never replace a mother.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So for you, even though she was going through, people knew her all days like this, she's coming out of mental health all this. But to you, she was a queen to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even when she had cancer, like when she got diagnosed with breast cancer, I just did as much as I could to be there for her. Like, in my house, it was just me and the 2 kids at the time. This is straight after, you know, nearly became homeless and I found a house, and she had to go through her treatment. And then I said to my sisters, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to let mum live in my house despite it, you know, like how she is. So my son had to, like, you know, move out of his room, and, you know, she got her mastectomy, and she stayed with me. And I was just like, you know, at the end of the day, she's your mother. You have to do things like that. I can't be like, nah, fuck mum, like, you know,
No.
she smokes cigarettes, she's, you know, I was like, whatever, she's got a mental health issue, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I had to find it in my heart, you know, we came from her. Yeah, so it was, you know, it was very hard, like, to watch as well, like, you know, the whole when she passed away in my hands.
When this?
So it happened like 5 years ago.
Wow.
So my journey started, I felt like everything that happened in my life spiritually happened to prepare me for her death. So I started to wake up more before that and really delve down this holistic way. And yeah, and this is where I met Tiger, because his grandfather.
He told me, he said that you guys met in the corridor.
In the corridor.
I think his mother or grandfather or grandmother was dying with cancer.
Yeah, same.
And then your mum was dying with cancer.
Yeah.
So you two met in the corridor. So who's gonna comfort that friend?
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. And like, ever since that day, we have been good mates. Like, he's like a brother that I never had. You know what I mean?
He told me.
And like just the experience that we go through in life, or, you know, certain things. But yeah, the whole situation with my mum, that was really, I feel like it prepared me for her death. So when she did pass away in my hands, like, it was because I put some headphones on with some music, meditation stuff, and she was there, and, like, you know, she had her last breath. And when you have someone go through death and have their last breath in your hands, it's just a different level. You know, you really, it's a different feeling. So it's like, I knew she was ready to pass away and let go with me.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, I guess she felt safe. She just felt safe, like, you know, I was helping her, bring her to, you know,
to the hospital, taking her places.
Yeah. And then, you know, even
before she passed away, did you look at her and say, Mum, I forgive you for everything?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 100%.
So then, you know, you're so, like, once you forgive her, you forgive yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
And forgiveness is a very hard thing as well. Like, you know, going down this practice of, like, you know, understanding how to forgive yourself for certain things. You know, there's certain things that I wasn't even there for my mother, that at some times, you know, I wasn't there for my children. So it's just like forgiving yourself and understanding, like, you know, for you to move on in your life, you need to forgive. And that's a big thing for a lot of people. Like,
and sometimes the thing about forgiveness is, like, if you have to forgive me, you're not forgiving me because of me.
100%.
You're forgiving me because of yourself, because you want to move on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you cannot move on from a problem if you haven't forgiving the person.
Yeah.
You know, you can forgive me. It's up to me how I respond to it, but you know that your heart have let go. So now you're on different journey, you know.
Yeah, definitely. And I see that in my relationships as well, like, you know, with relationships with certain people that I have, like, you know, with my ex-partners, certain things that has happened, certain things I've done, as we were talking about before. Like, I'm not all the innocent, and, like, you know, there's things that I've done that was pretty messed up. And I really, really had to take time to forgive myself, be like, why the fuck did I do that for? Or forgive myself for hurting that person, and then forgiving them, you know, for hurting me. So it's kind of, you know, it's a... Yeah.
So at what age did you went to prison?
I was 26.
Wow.
So after I had the children.
After you had the children?
Yeah. So when I had the children, I was like 18, 19. Like 19, I fell pregnant, and I was all good for a few years, and then I had relapsed. So when my ex-partner, their dad, went to Darwin, I ended up relapsing, coming back to Adelaide, because I moved over to Darwin for a few months. Came back to Adelaide with nothing, and then started just selling drugs again, just to make ends meet.
Not just selling from, or just real selling, like clubs, you
No,
know.
like, I was like selling heroin, ice, everything.
Wow.
Yeah, like, you know, just, it was pretty full on. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're making money out of it.
Yeah, so I was making money. That was how I was making a living. And then I had this, you know, you just go down that path, and you're like, okay, you're going to do this for a certain amount of time to stop, and then when you make this amount of money, when you do this, and you have these little goals.
You have all these big plans.
Yeah, you have all these big plans. And then I was just so lost at that time. I was really, really lost. And then yeah, that's when I went to prison. So that was a big turning point. And
So-
as you listen to the podcast,
So how did you get caught? Because I remember one time you told me we were talking about your NDIS clearing,
oh, okay, yeah.
and then you told me that I said to you, how did you get your clearing? And then you're like,
oh,
oh, blah, blah. I said, if you've been to jail, and then you said you were somewhere where someone got killed, or
oh no, yeah. So basically, in my
Yeah.
charges, okay, so in my charges, this is trafficking charges, and people had passed away.
yeah,
I didn't get charged for people's death, but I got charged for trafficking, right? When I did my clearances, and when you're on your journey of rehabilitation and you're going through, I needed proof to get, working with children or working in the, with anything, right? You needed your clearances.
Yeah.
My clearances didn't get approved. Why didn't it get approved? Because of this situation of prison. But then I was just like, when I got declined my clearances because of this shit, I was like, oh my God, this is my life. I want to go out there and help people. How am I going to do this if my clearances? And I was like really, really fucking angry, right? And this is what I say to everyone that has done time or has done criminal charges, right? I had the right support in my life around me to help me and the community things that I was doing, and I proved to the government that I am not who I used to be, and what I'm going to be doing and what I'm doing now is to better the community, to better the community for the children.
So you had to write a character reference letter.
Yeah. So I had lots of support letters.
Yeah, people, because it happens to me too.
Yeah, oh really?
Because growing up in Adelaide here, I used to get in trouble.
Yeah.
And I was so lucky that I had to move state.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I was going to go to jail. Because I used to be a reckless driver.
So you were this close to going to
Yeah,
jail?
like for me, nothing serious.
Yeah.
Reckless driving.
Yeah.
Like, cops will pull me over. I'll be driving my car, unregistered vehicle. They'll fine me $800, $1,000.
Yeah.
I'll pay, and then I'll confront the cops. And then I'll go to court every week. I'm going to court every month. I'm going to court for different.
Yeah.
And one day I was like, you know what? I just did that self-reflection. I was like, I'm not a bad person. And I'm not doing things that are making me money.
Yeah.
Why am I being stupid?
Yeah. You
know.
have that self-reflection.
Yeah.
Right?
And then I moved state. But then everything was on my record. I've tried joining the police force. Because police force is my dream job.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Police is my dream job.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I've been knocked back 2 times now. So
I would hate to work for the police force. I'm sorry. I would hate to work for them.
No.
They have their own little thing happening.
but every job have their own little thing. But
true.
for me, police is my dream job,
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not a criminal. Why am I? So first I did my security course. I applied for and then they knocked me back. They said, oh, you can still get it, but we need to prove that you're like this, you've changed, you've done this for yourself, blah, blah. Yeah. So I went to my pastor, church.
Yeah.
He wrote me a big letters, all that. He's a good boy. He come to church. He come help set up, and then I got my security license. And then it got to me getting into disability. They knocked me back. So you can't get it, blah, blah, blah. You've got all these almost 9 charges on my name.
Yeah. And then you got it cleared?
After
obviously.
10 years, no one can hold you for it.
Yeah, true. After 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then there's certain jobs that you can't do.
Yeah. And that's what I find the hardest, especially when I work with people with lived experience or with criminal charges, how hard it is to get back into the work field and actually do something because of these clearances. Which, mind you, the clearances are good and are needed because the community needs to know that this person that you're working for is cleared of or sexual abuse or whatever, all this other bullshit that is needed. But as we said, it's so hard for people like ourselves. But when there is a will, there is a way, right?
Yeah. And that's one thing I like about Australia. There's always opportunity.
Oh, 100%.
There's always opportunity where someone will look at you and say, look, I'm not saying you are, but just prove me wrong.
Always.
100%.
Yeah. Always opportunity. Yeah.
And that comes with your involvement in the community. So for me, I did get my
clearance.
Working with my NDIS clearing back then. And then after that expired, after 5 years, I had to apply for a new one. So when I applied for a new one, they said, no, you can't get it again. I said, what? I just had it long. They said, no, the rules change.
Oh, no way. Yeah.
So when the rules change now, I have to convince them. So I was writing. Normally, I don't like writing, but I have to
sit there and write.
I've wrote 4 pages. Otherwise, if I don't do it, I'm going to the factory. Do I like the factory job? No. So I wrote, and then I took it to JP, the signer with me. And then they asked me, I took community, I went to a community leader, he wrote some letters, pastor, he wrote some letter. And then I've got a friend, a prosecutor, he wrote me a letter, a lawyer, he wrote me a letter. They gave it to me.
In the end.
Yeah.
In the end, after all the hard work.
All the hard work.
Yeah.
You know.
You're just going to be grateful and blessed, I feel, you know. Yeah.
So, how long were you in jail for?
Me, I did 3 years.
3 years.
3
Wow.
years. Yeah.
How was that like? Because I have never been into a cell.
Yeah. I thought, for me, like in the first 2 weeks, I was just like, is this jail? Because I was just like, fuck, this is crazy. It's like a silver toilet, like a bed with like no mattress. I had a pillow, but, and that was just like a room where you go in and then they just analyze and see, you know, where you'll fit in. And I was on drugs at the time, so I was getting off drugs as well. So I was withdrawing, so I was like shitting, vomiting. I was like so sick, you don't understand. But yeah, then after they moved me in the wing, and when in the wing, it's just like a dormitory. Like, yeah, it was, I guess it's different to the men's jail. And then there's different levels in the prison, you know, low security, medium security, high security. You go automatically to high security, and then you work your way down to low security. So towards the end of my sentence, I went to low security, which was in the cottages. I got to work sewing clothes. So I was like in the factory, well, not a big shed, and we used to make the clothes for the prisons, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, so I learned how to sew in there. So it would be, you know, fitness wise, there was nothing fitness in there.
No gym, nothing.
There was nothing to help, and this is what I preach, and this is what I do at the moment. You know, I've got a new organization happening where we talk about what is needed in the system and how the system is actually failing us in the government. Like there was nothing there to help us women come out and feel confident in ourselves, or feel good about ourselves, or feel like, you know, rehabilitation or any therapy inside there. So literally I came out and I was like 70 kilos. Normally guys will go to prison and they'll come out looking buff. Right?
Yeah.
All my mates come out, the guys, they all come out, they're looking good. I'm like, brother, when I came out, I was like 70 kilos, yo. Like, you should see how, you know.
Is that big?
70 for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm only like 64 now. So
that's just so
listen,
different.
I'm telling you, I had fat rolls, double chin. You know what I mean? Like, but all the females say the same thing as me. You know, we come out, we're not looking fabulous, we're not looking good, we're not looking great, because there's no program in there. There's, even when it comes to like children, you know, my connection to my child in there was nothing. You know, they don't do anything to help you reconnect with your children, or reconnect with how do you talk to your child when you come out, or how do you build that rapport with them. My kids came out, I came out and my kids came back to my care, and that day I remember, like, my sister's got the video, she showed me the video the other week, and it was so fucking sad. Like, I was standing there and my kids walked in, and I think they were like 5 and 6 and 3, 4 at the time or so, and they walk in, because they hear me on the phone all the time, right? But they never see me, like, you know, and they walk in the house and we're like, oh, come here, like, you know, your mum's here, and they like literally walk past me. Like literally walk past me. Oh, shit. Yeah, so they literally, my kids just literally walked past me and did not even recognize me.
Wow.
And it was the most heartbreaking feeling, because I was just like, fuck, my own kids can't even remember.
But you know what? Let me be honest. You know, prison here is like a 5-star hotel compared to
100%. Bro, like my mate that goes over to prisons overseas, like he's like posting stuff that he, you know, the prisons that he's, and I was just like, you know what? I feel grateful and blessed that I went to prison here and not overseas, because I was living in a cottage with a bloody LED like brand new TV. Like it was actually like 5-star, right? So we called it like the mother house, because it was just 5-star. But I do believe that we need more programs and holistic things in there to...
I just feel like something to get you more prepared, to get you back 100%. Into society. Yeah.
Which is what they lack.
Because I was watching a video from a prison from my country.
Yeah. What country?
Liberia.
Liberia, yeah.
You see more than how many 100 people in one room.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
One place, dirty,
it's
nasty,
bad.
There's no TV.
My friend was in Thailand and he went into prison there, and he had his phone there still, and he called me up on WhatsApp, right? He's like, brother, he's like, the prison's here is fucking, he goes, I just sneaked in the phone, and then he like video called me like the prison in there, and I was like, wow. I was like, and we complain about prison, or not even prison, we complain about life in Australia when you go overseas and it's just a different story.
Trust me, life here.
Yeah. It's very, and this is what I say also, like, you know, me traveling, because I've traveled, you know, to Brazil, to Thailand, you know, and I've seen a few things that really made my heart think, you know what, people need to travel. You know, I say to all these young people, you know what, make money and travel around the world so you see with your eyes how real the world is and how grateful we are in Australia. So when you say to me, you have this issue or you can't do this, brother.
and that's the thing about here, you know, most people say to me, oh, I'm having a mental health problem. Like on little things. I'm having this problem, I'm having that problem. What is it? And then when you ask them, things that you're having problem here, people back home. Do you know, that's what I always say to my friend, you know, what you have now, it's someone prayer point in life.
100%. I totally agree. Because, you know? And then, you know, the work I do, this is, well, I guess, you know, you have to be non-judgmental with people as well, because everyone is going through their own experience, and that's why I always have to take a step back and be like, okay, I can't be judgmental and say it to this person, be like, oi, wake the fuck up, what about these people? Because then they take that the wrong way. Do you get what I mean? Like, people take that as the wrong way. But inside, I think like that, but then it's just like, okay, from their perception and their brain and their reality, it's totally different. To them, that's a big thing. To them, to even do one little step takes them like 10 hours.
10 hours, yeah. And
you know what I mean? But that's their, how can I say, that's their journey in their life. And as, you know, as people as myself that, you know, work with people like this, we have to take a step back and be like, okay, you know, everyone's different.
Everyone is different.
Everyone is different, and this is what I had to learn, is that in my reality, not everyone is going to be like me. Not everyone's going to think like me. And then, because I used to always care what people think, like, you know, my journey and like shit like that, and feel like, oh, am I speaking the truth, or like, you know, should I say this or should I? Now I don't give a fuck.
Just say whatever you want. You like me, you like me. You don't like me, that's your problem, you know?
100%. You know, my friends, my family, whoever, if you're not in my vortex, that's okay. I will still love you from far, from far away, but, you know, that's who I am, and no one can change. If there's something about me that you think that I need work on, tell me, and I will sit there, reflect on it.
And even if you tell me, like you said, reflect on it, but you can tell me what you think about me. Doesn't mean I would take it. You know? And you have to know yourself. You have to know your strength as a person. You know, you always have to recognize your strength. Definitely. How far you can go, what you can do, what you can't do, what you need to improve on, what you know. Don't let people tell you, say, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. Yeah, thank you. Tell me that, but do I really need it?
It's only you that know. You know.
Wow. So how's your relationship with your you know, your two children father?
My children's father? At the moment, it's chilled. Like, you know, he's over interstate, you know, he's looking after my son. He's got 2 children of his own. In the beginning, after a breakup, obviously it gets very toxic. After a few years, like, it's been 10 years now, like it's just different. So we just do our own thing, and we just talk about the children. He has his views on how to raise children. I have my views. I have my views on how to raise children. It's very, because of the different views and the different journeys and the different culture. It can kind of, like, you know. So
what is he?
He's Vietnamese.
Oh.
So.
Wow.
No judgments then. He's just a very strict person. He just has his one way, whereas I'm a very open-minded human being. Like,
what was he like growing up?
Oh, he was chill. Like, me and him, we met each other when we were young. He was just, he was chill. Like, he was quite young himself, having children. And then the more, I guess, me being in his life really changed a lot of things around him, because certain things that he was doing was all, you know, street gangs and da-da-da.
Oh, so he was into gangs too?
So he was, you know, dealing drugs, fights and all this stuff, and then...
But that's what you were in love with.
And then this is another topic. Why I get attracted by men that were so toxic, or men that were like, or boys or men or whatever, you know, that the reason was for protection, right?
Protection.
You felt like, you know, you needed someone like that, or, you know, because you didn't have that father figure in your life, so therefore you find someone
who can
represent that father. As a young girl, you do not know yourself yet. You're lacking that father figure, that masculinity in your life.
Wow.
And so me growing up, I had to learn how to be that masculine as well. I had to go out there and start drug dealing and start making money, you know, to survive, just being in that world, which then I had to take a step back and be more feminine.
Wow.
And, like, you know, learn how to be more of a female and stop being a hectic and like fucking, you know what I mean?
You know, when you used to come to the gym, I still used to see you because you're always like, this guy's crazy, man.
Oh yeah, I'm still feminine.
And then you start punching, pop, pop. I said, this one.
You're like, this bitch is crazy.
I said, this one, if you have a go with her, she'll kill you, you know?
Yeah. I think now, like, that's another thing. Now doing martial arts has really changed my life because, and also, you know, understanding energy work and, you know, how to really incorporate that in your practices for mindfulness. And I was a very angry person, I'm telling you. Like, I look back on scenarios of things that I've done, you know, whether within my family. Ask my sisters. My sisters can be proof that I was a violent human being.
Same, I was too.
Like one of my sisters, I remember, it was pretty bad, like what I used to do. Like I was very violent. I used to throw things and like, she's got a scar here now. Like it was, you know, just certain things, which is pretty like, you know, I feel really bad for that. But it's just like understanding martial arts and understanding myself more.
I think it's because I that's why I appreciate going to the gym more.
Yeah, see how gyms
helps you a lot. Because
like
I used to get angry a lot too. I used to get in trouble.
Yeah.
You know, like someone say something to me, I want to react.
So you're there.
Yeah, but now, you know, I react more on my weight, you know, like how much I can lift.
Yeah, and you know what it is I feel when you're lifting as well, you have that goal. You know, when you have that goal and you sit there in your mind, you're like, okay, this is how many kilos I'm going to lift and this is how much pressure I'm going to push and this is like, you can just release all of that. Yeah. Whether that's through gym, martial arts, running, playing sport, or doing anything that, you know, takes your mind off from other things.
Wow.
Is your meditation, right? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, how long you been training?
Me for the past 6 years, I reckon.
6 years. But you do everything. You do weight, you do martial art, boxing.
Yeah, kind of like, I know everyone's like, I'm such an all-round, you know what I say about what I do? It's like when I do my massage and all my therapy work, is I learn all these different skills in life to incorporate my own in my business. So, you know, the massage, the therapy, the holistic counseling, you know, all of that energy, I incorporate all of that to create my own body work that I do with a human being. And then my, you know, fitness and training, I learn different skills like, you know, Tai Chi, I've done that, Qigong, Jiu-Jitsu. You know, I'm not a professional in these things. I love learning different, you know, I've done belly dancing, like, you know. Because
you've gone to Asia and done some boxing. Where was it? Thailand or Bali?
I went to Thailand,
Yeah, because you were there for some time. I used to watch your...
stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I went to Thailand and I met so many, like, the moment that I said to myself, my sister Anne used to always say to me, Vanna, you need to just go travel. She's like, you're at that age where you need to travel, you live your life, you're off parole, go travel, right? So I was like, fuck this, alright, I'm gonna go do this. And so when I travelled, I went to Thailand, I just met amazing human beings. Like, you know, I opened up myself up.
Good people.
And then in Thailand, there's an area there which everyone is the same as myself. And so you're meeting all these different people. And I was like, oh my God, this is where I belong.
Yeah.
And then I'm out there and then I met a videographer. And then Ayrton, he was like doing content for all these fighters. And I was like, brother, I want to be the journalist. I'm talking to people. I love, like, you know, everyone used to just talk to me. We used to do like heaps of fun, cool shit there, right? And then just training as well, like, you know, just full on training with different fighters, professionals, getting to know them, getting to know their experience. And then once I started to talk to people from Kazakhstan or, you know, Iran and all these countries that had so much shit, and they come to Thailand to train and they're just so super focused. And then after you think, fuck, you know, it's so different in Australia. These people think differently. Do you know what I mean? Like,
you're like, I came from heaven and here.
Yeah. So they look at us and, you know, we got money. And, you know, these people are coming there to go fight, have, like, you know, trying to make money through fighting, you know, because that's what they love and that's what they want to do, or they want to get out of their country because their country's going through war. So it was quite, for me, it was a big eye-opener experience. Meeting other women as well that were same vibe as myself, you know. And then then I just started traveling more, went to Brazil, stayed there for a few weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a big eye opener, going to the favelas over there. Like, Brazil was, how can I say? Yeah, big eye opener, you know.
How is Brazil like? Cause
Brazil, I have a lot of Brazilian friends here.
For me, I know Brazil for soccer. Football. Yeah, that's all I know Brazil for. Apart from that, nothing else.
Yeah, soccer is a big thing over there.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
Like Brazilian Brazilian Jiu-jitsu. I did training over there. Just full on over there. Like with, for example, we go to the beach. You go to the beach in Rio. And honestly, the whole beach is like Bondi Beach, but it goes for kilometers, right?
Wow.
And then it's like in Australia, you see everyone laying down on the beach, just laying there, like the whole, like for example,
Yeah.
Bondi Beach, I went there, everyone's just laying there, right?
I'm a rich white woman.
Yeah, just
I'm
laying there,
enjoying
not
the
doing.
sun.
Bro, I go to Brazil, like the whole fucking sand, everyone's doing activity. They're doing something. They're training. They're running. They're playing a game. They're just out there. They're
Wow.
dancing. They're doing all this crazy. And I'm just like, oh my god, I love Brazil. This is so my vibe. Like here, and then you come back here in the beaches. They're just everyone's just like so fucking lazy.
I'm careful.
Yeah. And I
I'm
was just
tired
like,
from work.
yeah. And I was just like,
This is what I need to do.
And I was just like, bro, I was like, what is wrong with, you know? And I was just like, that's what I loved about Brazil. Like, it was just very,
The energy is different.
the energy is different. And you're walking past someone, and every single person that you walk past with, you know, you say hello. You know what I mean? You nod your head. You hello. Like,
Yeah.
just very friendly. Very. You walk in the elevator. You say hi. You know, you come here. Everyone's just ego, just like fucking.
Here it's different.
Yeah, it was a very different culture for me. And then it was so funny. I was just saying this to everyone, like, you know, when I went to the airport, like in Colombia and Brazil, like I walked in, like in the airport, and everybody was hugging each other, like boyfriend, you know, their partner, holding each other, kissing each other, like, you know, just so. And my heart was just like, why is everyone so like, this is now what I mean when people say Brazilians are just very open-hearted.
Yeah.
They show their emotions.
Wow.
You come to Australia, you go to the airport, everyone's just sitting there like, fuck it, whatever. You
Yeah,
know?
but
And then I was thinking to myself, I feel like I'm a Brazilian because I'm a very emotional, very touchy. Like, you know,
Yeah.
if you're my lover.
But you look more of a Brazilian, you know?
Oh, thank you.
No, honestly, yeah, you look Brazilian.
Yeah, I'm not Brazilian.
No, you look South American.
Yeah, I get all different. So when I was there, everyone thought I was Brazilian, but I was
Yeah,
like, nah, I'm
because
not
I think you're fitting more because you're crazy too, you know?
Oh, shit.
No, you look Brazilian.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
honestly, yeah.
I get the other day someone said to me I look Egyptian. I was like, okay, thank you. That's okay.
So you don't get being Asian common.
It's me. You know what it is? I say this, my sisters and I, because we're half. Every day is a different day, based on what we wear, how we talk, who we're with. If I'm hanging around all my Persians and everything, okay, do I have a bit of you
fit in too.
I fit in. Then I hang around all my Vietnamese friends and I start talking Vietnamese.
Yeah. Or you talk Vietnamese too?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And then I hang around Greek people, then I'll be like, Ella there,
Ella there, yeah.
So it's kind of like mix of I don't know.
Every day, different day.
Sometimes I feel like I'm not even fucking from this earth, bro.
Wow.
From the moon.
Wow. So how was it like when you came back and then you got your kids back and then they couldn't connect with you? How was that journey like?
The journey of reconnecting with my children.
With your children, and from the age of what, 5?
Yeah, so my son was 6 and my daughter was 4.
Yeah, was 4. Now she's how old?
She's 18. Oh, 17 now.
She's 17.
Yeah.
How's that journey been like?
Oh, okay, so since she's come back in my care, she's been in my care the whole entire time.
Wow.
So I've had her more than what her father has. Wow. My son moved with his father 5 years ago. But yeah, just the journey of being a mother has been, and not just a normal mother, you know, a mother that's trying to understand herself, a mother that's trying to understand how the world is, a mother that's going through her own, you know, a mother being at my age and having teenage children. It was very, how can I say, when I was taking them to school, I remember I was the youngest mum there.
How old were you then?
I was 20, just say I was 25 or something,
25.
30, and all the mums would be 45 or something, 40.
You see, you started learning how to be a mother, you know, later on in your life.
Yeah.
Because the reason is, I personally think is because you didn't see that growing up.
Yeah.
So how can you relate to, you know, how can I do this? How can I do that? You know, so.
Yeah, so it was very different. How can I say, you know, being with my sisters, I had always looked after them, even at 13, 15, right? Even though I was living on the street.
So you've been a mother for a long time?
Yeah, I had a house, the housing trust at 15 years old.
Wow.
Getting parenting payment for 3 of my sisters. Do you know what I mean? Essentially approve of me for being an adult at 15, looking after 3 children. And the support system, it was pretty you know, and then at that time it was too much for me, and then I went back to drug dealing, and then, you know, it was a lot of you know, I tried to be a mother to my
you grew up too quick.
Yeah, I grew up too quick. It was way too quick.
So then it got to a point where you collapsed.
Yeah.
And then in your 20s you tried to be a teenage or young woman.
Yeah. But then I had kids.
But then you already have kids.
Yeah, yeah,
So then you had to be a teenage, a mom, adult
yeah,
at the same time.
yeah.
It was
yeah.
hard.
And then being on drugs.
And being on drugs too.
Yeah,
Wow. That's
Yeah, it takes a lot on someone's. I feel sometimes people don't understand, how much it takes on a human soul to go through those things, and then coming out of that, has been a process. Even till now, like some days you get exhausted, or some days people are like, oh, you're always high vibe and da da da. I go, dude, I get days that I'm depressed. We all get depressed somehow. There's days that I feel really low, and those close to me will know that. There's days, but it's just like pushing through. Building that resilience. Learning the resilience that you've had when you're younger to now, and how you can just push yourself through all of this stuff.
And that's what separates the weak to the strong people. When you're low, you know where to tap in.
Yeah.
To refill or to recharge your battery again, and then keep going. As in some people, when they get to that point, they'll be like, Jesus, I need to see a doctor to get on pills
or something. And me, I am against that only because I've seen my mum go through her anxiety and her depression, and I made a promise to my mum before she died that I will never ever take an anxiety tablet. I will never take an antidepressant. I will never, the steps that she used in her with the tools, that I will not do that, because unfortunately look what happened. So I did opposite to what my mother did in order to change things in my life. And that's what's, and because of obviously, I feel like those are just band-aids in your life. They don't fix the problem, they just cover it up.
Have you been to a point where you say, because I feel like it'll be good for you to take your daughter overseas?
At
some point,
100%. So now that I've done all this, I feel like I've done all this in my life, taking her overseas. I needed to experience this for myself to really see this world and then take her. So we've got plans to go overseas. I wanted to, really, want her to see things that I've seen and experience that now. She's at that age.
Because I've seen people like where I come from. Mother has passed away, father has passed away, and they have no guardians, but they're just living on the street. They have no support system from government or anyone. They're just hustling, like
I know,
just begging or just selling whole day, selling for $5 or $10.
It's crazy, right?
But here she is, she have you. You're trying to make things right for her. Like trying to make it better for her. You know?
Definitely.
So I think taking her overseas will make her appreciate you more. I don't know how she look at you, but most kids, they'll look at you funny. They say, "What can you tell me?" But when you take her to places where she's seeing a real
life.
Don't take her to the city. Take her to the
Take
real.
her to the
Take
her to the favelas.
Where she should be like, "Wow, mom."
100%. I agree. I think that every parent should do that.
Like
things that when I was younger, if I had the financial, the money and stuff that I did when I was young, I would have done that for my child. Straight out, there's certain things.
Because like now people ask me, say, "Oh, why don't you go camping, all this?" I say, "I don't like being in the bush." I say, "That was my life growing up." Like working on a farm.
Like you've done all that.
I've done all that, so I don't like it. I'm more of a city, like even when someone tell me, "Oh, let's go hiking." I don't want to be in the forest.
That's not you.
No, I don't want it, because I've lived that life.
You've lived that life already.
It wasn't a choice for me. It was a life that I saw growing up. So that was my life.
I get it. So your life was, Whereas
waking up, going on the farm, chasing birds.
That was your life.
That was my life.
Do you ever miss it?
I don't miss it.
I guess being from where you are and then coming to Australia is a different feeling and different experience. A lot of people that I see, and I have a lot of friends that from overseas that come to Australia. And it's just a beautiful place for them. They're all forever grateful. They see life so different there. So I don't know, like, their view on life is different because everything back at home is worse. And Australia is the most,
it's heaven.
This is why a lot of people come to Australia.
It's heaven. Australia is heaven.
100%. So when people say to me, "Oh yeah, you should move to Thailand," I actually love Australia. Australia is my home country. But
some white people are crazy. There was a friend in the gym. You know who I'm talking about.
He moved
he packed everything and then moved to Thailand.
Okay, yeah.
And then he was sleeping on the floor. He said, I just want that experience. I said, how can you want experience of sleeping on the floor?
Yeah.
He said, because everything in Australia is giving to...
Yeah.
What's his name? Doggy.
Yeah. He's fracturing my spine, bro.
Yeah, I remember that.
Remember his spray, brother?
I remember you were like...
Fucking
You were like, fucking hell, take it easy.
I don't know what the fuck happened to him, but yeah, fuck.
But he's a nice guy.
Yeah, he is a nice guy.
Yeah,
you know,
he's...
that was by accident, by the way. That wasn't on purpose, but like, take it easy, brother.
Because I was very... Somehow I was inspired by his decision.
Yeah.
To move over there.
Yeah.
And then when he moved there, he showed me where he was sleeping. Because one time I FaceTimed him on Instagram. And then he showed me where he was sleeping. I'm bed on the floor, all this. I told him, brother, you know, I've got a lot of respect for you, but I don't want that life.
Yeah, but you know what's so different about that too? Like when it comes to fighters and stuff like that, obviously I've dated a fighter and I know the experience. They tend to leave their home, their comfortability, and like to be uncomfortable to feel that, because for some reason that is their life and they love that. So sometimes I look at them and I'm like, why are you doing that for? You're living in a place that is really bad, not but that's what they want to experience in their life for some reason. That's what they want to do. Then I'm like, okay, well, if that's what you feel that's what drives you.
But you know, wanting to experience something and something being your life is two different things.
Yeah.
You see, people in Thailand or some people there would not want to experience that. But they have no other choice.
Yeah, they have
that's
no
their
other
life.
choice. That's why you see the Thai coaches coming over
here.
Yeah. Or Thai fighters are coming over here getting paid, not even Thai, just other people from other countries.
Yeah.
Like this is one experience, one thing, right? So you get a match up for boxing, Muay Thai event or whatever with a fighter that's overseas. And that fighter is not even as good as a fighter in Australia. Or not even as good, but imagine you have the fighter in Australia has more tools and has more
resources, like nutrition, all this,
everything.
Programming is different.
And then in the boxing game, the martial arts, they bring someone overseas, and then the fight comes, and this guy's like punching the Aussie dude's like, and this poor, ethnic guy is fucking like on the ground, and I'm there in the ring. I'm at the box, I'm just like, and I'm seeing all these people like, yay, like, and I was like, are you fucking serious, cunt? Like, fucking probably doesn't even get the same amount of training as what you do, and you're there, I'm like, cunt, I just got a fucking, like, come on, brother. Like, I look at you like you're a piece of shit. Yeah. I'm sorry, that's just me.
No, I agree.
But that's the game of, as I spoke to a few promoters, they were just like, that's the game of boxing or whatever, you know. And I'm just like, yeah, but I feel sorry but then these people are doing it because they're getting for money, for one, free accommodation. They get to come to Australia, for fuck's sake.
And probably when they come here to run away, they don't want to go back.
Yeah, to have that experience. But it's kind of like, as I said, it's a perception thing. You know what I mean? Like, from their perception, they don't give a shit. You
see, so that's the contrast to it. Like, people leave from here, go to Thailand, not for a better life.
Yeah.
Because you will not leave from here and go to Thailand to sleep on the ground or...
But then it also depends, because I do have friends that have moved to Thailand and have created businesses and have created things, when they moved to Bali or Thailand and created businesses to help, as I said, it really depends on the
mindset,
your mindset of where you are and who you are. And if I was to go overseas and move, I will make sure that I've got a business, I've got something in place. I'm not just gonna be like, I just wanna, No,
but that's different.
Yeah.
Like, for example, now if I say I'm moving back to Africa, I can't just leave here and then go back to Africa.
Yeah.
I'm gonna struggle.
Yeah.
So before I move back, I need to set myself up.
Yeah, you gotta set yourself up.
Build a business, like house, like make myself comfortable.
Network a lot.
Before I can, travel, go there more on holidays before I can even think of,
100%,
But
yeah, it's a hard life.
It's hard, and I've seen you go to those boxing shows.
Yeah.
I'm like, this girl's crazy. She's watching.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But to move there, I wouldn't as I said, to move there, that's a different story. It's based on what my plan on my business and what I'm doing in my life. I feel like, setting yourself, sometimes getting out of your comfort zone, you have to be uncomfortable. You gotta just take the risk, right? But when I take the risk, I always have to think 10 steps ahead.
But would you take a risk now to move back there?
To Thailand?
Yeah. Like, I don't want to speak for you, but...
Yeah. I wouldn't do this in my time of my life because my children are still young.
Yeah.
Okay, they're 18, they're in their adulthood, but still, I know that they need me somehow.
Yeah.
Here in Australia. If I was single, maybe. If I had
if you didn't have kids,
Yeah, if I didn't have, Would I move overseas for somebody if I fell in love? Is that what you want to ask me?
I think you would. I think you would. Yeah, I think you
Would I move overseas for someone?
Would you?
You know what? Like, when it comes to that, long distance relationship is very hard.
Of course it's hard.
It's very, very hard.
It's not for everyone.
It's not for everyone,
Yeah.
and you have to really spiritually connect to this person. And
It's your spirit.
yeah, you have to be very like authentic and very transparent. Phone calls, video calls, you know, fucking sex calls.
So you do sex,
Really, you know, you gotta like, you know, make something fucking
make him feel like,
like
we're
different,
still
like-
connected,
yeah, 100%.
Wow.
Yeah, there's
You see, I don't have time for that.
yeah. See, that's what I mean. Some people have time, some people don't have time. You know, yeah. So yeah, it's a very different. It's not for everyone.
So what kind of guys are you into? Like men that train? Because the last person that was here, I asked her the same thing,
Yeah.
and she said I'm more into people that train.
Yeah, so at the, like, you know, now that I change the way that I am as a human being and what I do in my life, I do train. I do look for a man that is more masculine, more in touch with his emotional, spiritual sense and his physical, right? And has a goal. If a man does not have a goal in their life, how is a woman going to feel like she's being led? Do you get what I mean?
But someone doesn't need to go to the gym and still have a goal.
No, that.
But would you be with a guy that don't go to the gym?
I would have to go. You know why? Because I've been with a guy that didn't go to the gym but was amazing in other things, but just didn't go to the gym and didn't like training. And it really affected me because I would go train with my friends that were guys because they'll give me that attention of like lift up more heavy. You know what I mean? Like push me to
That
go
little
train.
thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not anything sexual, but just that.
But you like that. That's how you build connection with people.
Yeah,
you know?
like, you know what I mean? When I go to the gym with my mates and I have my mates that like, you know, train and then, you know, they push me, you know, I need that noise to help me, you know what I mean? Like, and then if my partner feels threatened or feels like, oh, fucking who's that guy? Or who's, you know, who's this person? Or, you know, he doesn't train or he doesn't feel like he's as good as this guy.
Yeah.
Then he gets threatened. And then, do you get what I mean? So it's just like, for me, like being in the dating scene, you have to find someone that, you know, is secure in themselves, that can communicate properly, that's obviously training and, you know, has a goal, a set goal. Yeah.
But my question is, you're beating around my question. Would you date a guy that
doesn't train?
doesn't train but he's got money?
Oh, would I train? Would I be with
Or
a guy?
would you go with someone that
No.
don't have money but he's fit, he's into fitness, and you know, like, which one?
You're giving me experiences that I've had in my
Yeah.
life, bro. So you're asking me to give the
Yeah,
answer.
you know what I
okay?
mean? Like, which
I've been in a relationship with a man that has money that doesn't train, and that relationship didn't work out.
why?
Reason why? Because he wasn't motivated to excel in his life in training mentally, physically. Financially, damn, he had lots of money, bro.
Yeah.
But what's money? Money's just energy to me. Like, you know, it doesn't matter what you
Money is what? Energy?
Money's just energy. Like, it's just, money's money, but, you know, you just gotta, you know, it's, money will come and go.
Wow.
And then you get a guy that has no money.
Yeah.
Let's not say has no money, but doesn't have money.
No, but he can pay his own bills, can take care of himself. He's
Yeah.
got a car, he's training.
Yeah, which is fine. And I've been in that situation. I've had a relationship with a man that had a fucking C63 AMG, like, you know, hectic, like, you know.
Wow.
And then it's just like, you know, support me, but there was other things missing in our lives in order for me to feel attached to him, attracted, you know. Hence why this is what I was talking about earlier, infidelity. Why does cheating happen?
Yeah, because
what I mean?
I feel like if you're with that kind of person, he's got all the money, but he's taking care of you, but he's not training. But every day you're around people that are training all this, you're getting that attraction from them.
Yeah.
You're most likely to cheat.
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
You're most likely, you know. But yeah, as to go with your question, yeah, like to me, financial stuff doesn't matter. You know, as long as you're stable, like it's not like I want to be with someone that literally is a bum. Of course I don't want to be with someone that's a bum. I need someone to have foundation still, to have a solid foundation.
Yeah.
And has a goal in life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because the last girl that was here, when we spoke about the same thing, she was like, "Oh, me, I wouldn't." Because she said she used to date men like that before.
That
they have
bums
money.
or-
No,
they have
no.
money.
They have money. They have respect,
Yeah,
community respect. People in the community see them really, really
Yeah.
high.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then she said, when it comes to sex, they can't fuck.
Oh yeah, okay. So that's what you'll get a guy that is a high value man.
Yeah.
That is very high in value, but when it came to that sexual experience,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
you know, as we said before, having that sexual, you know, having that sexual experience as well
Yeah.
with your intimate with your partner is very crucial in your relationship.
Yeah, that's what he was saying.
If there's
Yeah.
no good intimacy,
Yeah.
or you can talk about
Yeah.
what you like, what you don't like, what you want to experience, what you don't want to experience,
Yeah.
or just certain things, the relationship, you know, with my man, a relationship has to be we can talk about everything. Like I don't want to feel that
You're too.
that pressure of like I can't talk, or I gotta be on.
There's a certain way I should talk. There's a certain way I should move.
Yeah,
I can't say this. I say that.
I've been like, you know, walking on treadmill.
Yeah.
You know, just like certain things I have to say to this man. Like I have to be careful what I say. I have to, you know, I feel like, you know, as long as I have the respect and I know when to say and what, you know.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you just have to know your cues.
Yeah. So
you know what book is good for people to read is Women Are From Venus and Men Are From Mars. That book is really, really good.
Venus. All right.
Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. It's such an amazing book to understand the human psychology of a man and a woman.
You see, you need to stop reading this kind of books.
The books are good.
you need to stop reading this kind of book.
Oh God.
Those books are taking you too deep into the spiritual.
Too deep into the spirit. No, it's just psychological. You know, it makes you understand yourself. I feel with me and my experience in my life, like I like when I delve into something, I like to delve into it and like, you know.
You look like someone that when you fall in love with something, or when you start doing something, you want to do it to the point that you want to see the root of it.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
you just
me.
don't want to be in half.
Yeah, like you know how you're telling me to fucking believe in the Book of Mormon.
You know,
like give me.
When you're diving into the ocean, you just want to go all the way in, and you know, which is good. That's a good thing.
The top of the ocean, I want to dive deep and go understand. Like, you know, I think that's why my person, like, you know, how I am when I talk to people, you know, when I communicate with people.
And you're very warm too. You know, you're very nice. I'll be honest with you. First time I'm a bit
ADD. I'm
like, you just met me, and then we were talking about child support. You remember?
Oh yeah, child support.
Yeah, child support, and then someone was saying that, they should pay, blah blah. And then you were like, oh, for me, you know, it's all about the connection. I want the father to be around, you know, so making him pay child support would. I was like,
100%.
She's crazy, but she's very logical, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you know, even with my situation, I just wanted their father to be in the picture. Instead of money. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Because,
like,
you know, money creates problems.
Yeah. Like, you know, the connection, you know, and once the connection of, you know, being with the family and creating that, then money will come. You know, it's
Because what happened is, like, because I've seen friends that they pay those big child support, $750 a fortnight, $800 a fortnight. But they don't talk to their kid. They don't see their kid.
Yeah.
They don't want to have nothing to do with it.
Yeah. I think it's... As a human being, I don't know how you can just pay the child support and then be like, yeah, okay, that's fine. I'm not going to see my child. I guess it's...
I feel like if I'm paying all that money, because, you know, if I'm paying $800 a fortnight, the child is not eating all that money.
Yeah.
And then when the child comes to me, you will be paying some sort of money to them too.
Yeah.
You know, so sometimes that's where that anger comes in. You know, that's where the problem comes in. You know, but some moms just don't understand. You know, like they put their ego first. Yeah. Over the kid.
Yeah. And there's always two sides to a story. So there's a lot when it comes to stuff like, especially with breakups. You know, there's a lot of how can I say, like the other week I had like 7 couples come to me with relationship issues, breakup issues, you know, just full on, like, that's got to do with children as well. And it's just like both the male and the female need to have some type of therapy and mediation on how to work with the child to build something and create a plan for their child financially, physically, you know, to understand, okay, what are the next plans. The reason why I say this is because when my breakup happened, it was so messy, and it was just like I just couldn't communicate with him, and I tried to do all these certain things.
Yeah, but you were young, you were on drugs, you know.
Yeah, or no, even after that, like, you know what I mean, like, it was just so messy because he was just like I don't want to, this is how it is, I don't want to listen to you. You know, I don't want to go through this mediation. And it's like, okay, we need to mediate and communicate with each other.
I just feel like when things like that happening, you know, like one parent should, male or female, should just take a step back, you know, to let things cool down. Like you said, when people broke up, you know, there's always that tension. You know, so it's good for one person to step back. Sometimes just let go of your ego. You know? Just step back, let them be. They're human. You know, like we all think. Sometimes you sit down, you reflect, you be like, you know what, my child need a father, need a mother. Let me let them in. You know. So how do you see your, like, what you're doing now with your spiritual, you know, like all these, like why don't you become a personal trainer?
I am a qualified personal trainer. So I do my personal training. I don't just see personal training as, okay, I'm going to train. I mentor and I coach people. So basically mindfulness stuff. So I'll create a plan for you. So you come in and see me in the studio, have a consultation. I create a plan on your, just say mental and physical. If you come in and you want to work on your personal training, then I will refer you to a personal trainer. If you want to work on, you know, on yoga, so it's an individualized plan for each person based on what they need. So I'm kind of like that midpoint to help you grow in your mindfulness, in your fitness journey, basically. So it's just not like focus on, as we said before, it's not just about personal training where you want to get big
or looking big.
Okay, let's you know what I mean. That's another subject. Like, you know, it's just more about really understanding yourself mindfully of what you want and how you want to create that, and using the appropriate tools holistically.
So it looks like holistically is your favorite word.
Holistically.
So why don't you, you know, because what you do, you know, it would be good for you to work with sport teams.
Sport teams?
Like AFL, those local sport teams.
I would love to do that. The only reason why is because I have this purpose and passion of working with young people and children, and, you know, people with lived experience, or people, you know, help build them up. Do you get what I mean? I could work, like, you know, so I had a few play, like soccer. I get a few soccer players and footy players and stuff that come in and see me. But I feel there's so much of what I do. So many people are doing it now. There's not many people doing it for young people. And so I have a purpose. My passion is to work with younger people.
Yeah, but you can still, even with sport teams, there's
juniors,
you know, all this, trying to make them understand what,
you
know, the world is like, you know, like things like that, you know. Like,
so it's just about, like, I guess, networking and putting myself out there.
And have a big vision too, you know, like.
So as I said, at the moment I'm working with two other people named Dan 1 and Dan 2. So they've got lived experience, and we've got an organisation called Momentum. So Momentum is basically us people with lived experience coming together to create an organisation to help other people with or without lived experience, but to help direct in certain ways. So, for example, if they want a personal trainer that does boxing, we've got Dan, like Changi, that does, like, his, you know, boxing. So, you know, he'll get his PTs or people that want to do that. And then there's me that, you know, does all my therapy stuff. And then there's Dan that does all the legal stuff. You know what I mean? There's different people on the team that, you know, works in different ways.
Do you know what you could do? Be a is it mentor?
Mentor, yeah, that's
with those DCP kids.
Okay, so I've tried to get into DCP. That's another
Trust
story.
me, I've tried to.
Yeah. So
did you fail the psychology test?
Yeah, no. Like, so doing all that, like, it's a lot of work. We'll get there.
Yeah.
You know, it's just about, you know, finding. You know, I've got a lot of people now that are backing that work for DCP, and people that I know in the, you know, governing bodies. And as I said, with this organisation, with Momentum, this will build, this will grow, this will show the community of what we are, who we are, how to create a team, and then go out there into the community and be like, this is what we are, this is what we do, we're from Adelaide. So in June, we've got a conference happening, so we're all flying up to Alice Springs. So basically we're just going to sit there and talk to other people with lived experience and other organisations about what we do and who we are, and we're from Adelaide, you know, because I feel like, you know, people from Adelaide, we need to fast track shit, bro.
Yeah,
like, we're so slow here. Like, I Sydney and I do all this stuff, you know what I mean? Like, Sydney is like, you know, like I do heaps of shit over in Sydney, like, in, you know, overseas, but in Adelaide we're just so slow in voicing out.
Because the population here too, you know, like, it's like 1 million. Sydney is almost 7
I know, when
million.
I go to Sydney, all my friends are like, you're fucking from Adelaide? I was like, brother.
But trust me, here, Sydney, Adelaide is good.
Yeah, I love Adelaide. Like,
it just keeps you granted, you know, like, every day. Because Sydney, I lived in Sydney, like, it was just
always on the go.
Always on the
I
go. You
literally
don't
just
know
came back from
what's.
Sydney, and literally, like, I was always on the go. Like,
You
I was
don't know
never
what's
home.
going on. No.
I was never home, and like, you know, just it's always there's always something to do. Like, you know, very busy, very fast paced. But yet again, it's good in some sense because you can learn so much from there. And you know, you come back to Adelaide, you're like, fuck, Adelaide's slow. Like, actually slow.
Yeah, it's so slow.
You know,
You're like, there's more I can get done with, you know.
Yeah.
I agree.
with programs, with like, you know, just certain things, and I'm just like,
You're mentally ahead of a lot of people because a lot of people are so
I
stuck there.
procrastinate a lot here.
But you know, I was like that too. Like
Yeah.
when I first moved back here, everything was moving. But then I've gotten caught up to this.
Yeah, which is okay with being slow. I love to slow. People ask me, do I slow down? And like, of course I slow down. But it's just balancing it, you know, understanding how to be fast paced. Get shit done in your life, you know. Wake up and be determined and disciplined. Okay, this is what needs to be done. This is where I need to be. But then also taking that time out to have that break. Go out and do your Zen or, you know, whatever, however your meditation is.
I just feel like, you know, like the difference between people from Sydney, Melbourne and Adelaide is people from Adelaide, they're scared of failure.
Yeah, true.
Because the community here is together, so if you fuck up, people look at you.
Yeah.
But then with Sydney or Melbourne, you can fuck up, but there is tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, as long as you can fuck up, you get up again and keep going.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking, you know? Yeah. All right, we're going to finish up.
Yeah.
It looks like you...
Alright, brother, it's 2:40.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so
I
much
appreciate
for having me
you.
on. I'm sure we can do more podcasts and talk about more things on different levels because we had this conversation.
No, but this was really, really good.
Yes, definitely.
No, I'll be honest with you, this was really, really good.
Yes,
you
definitely.
know, because sometime in life it's not about where you start, it's about where you end. And from what I can see, and for me, from seeing you a few years now, 2 years or whatever, I know you're on a good, journey, you know, and just keep working on yourself, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like you said, sometimes this is hard.
Yeah.
But you can't put your head down. Just keep going.
Yeah.
We all have a story.
Yes, that's what I say. We all have a story.
We all have a story.
And it's about creating your next chapter, right?
You know, if everyone was the same, the world would be a different place. You know, so that's why they got different continents. That's why they got different countries. That's why they got different islands, because everywhere is different. You know, so that's why we all are different.
Yeah.
If you look at right now, you're what? Greek
Vietnamese.
Vietnamese. I'm African. The video game is what? Korean. So you see, there's a color in it, there's beauty.
Yeah,
you know,
like
we all link from one another.
Yeah, definitely.
You know? So
yeah,
so
thank you so much for that.
I really appreciate you. Thank you.
All right,
thank you.
Woo, that was good, brother. That was so good.
Thank you very much.
You enjoyed that.
No, I enjoyed.
I need to go use that.
Yeah.